We're still defrosting from that game, but wow, what a absolutely great performance from the Bears. They did exactly what you have to do when you play an inferior opponent. They were ready for it. They took care of business, and they got that victory fairly handily. The easiest win of the year, Mr. David.
Morning, Mully. Yes, on this Monday, definitely the Bears can celebrate a job well done. It was very workmanlike in their approach. And Ben Johnson said that on Monday they were desperate for a win, and they came out with a sense of urgency that didn't really exist. It was somewhat manufactured.
Yes.
They could have lost that game and conceivably still been in very good shape for the playoffs. But somehow they treated the Browns like a team that wasn't one of the worst in the league, and they found a way to execute, and they did what they needed to do. That's what good teams do. That's what playoff teams look like. They don't let letdowns occur, and now the Bears are in a 3-game sprint to the playoffs, and it was a remarkable day in the NFC North. So right now, as the Bears sit here today, they're in first place in the division and still could be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, and we'll go over all the happenings in the NFC North. Obviously, both the Packers and the Lions lost, and that means the Bears are back, and they're not the number 1 overall seed, but they're number 2, and that's pretty darn good. And you gotta like how things fell their way. One more win away, Mr. David, from the playoffs. It feels a little bit different this morning, certainly, than it felt a week ago.
It does, with them at this second seed, and where the Packers' loss of both the game and Micah Parsons and Christian Watson now puts them in a precarious spot moving forward. And Matt LaFleur sounded as disappointed as anybody would post-game. And you go back to all of the build-up before the first time between the Bears and the Packers, and last January, Matt LaFleur might be the guy that Ben Johnson beats twice this year after all. They're still in a position because Saturday night on the lakefront, and if the playoffs ended today, the 2nd seed would host the 7th seed. Look who's the 7th seed.
The Green Bay Packers.
Wouldn't that be something else? That after all of this conversation and speculation and whatever else transpired, that the Bears would still be in a position they are. They could beat the Packers twice.
So I came back upstairs and I caught the end of the Packers game. I was watching some of the Lions game, but I went over and I was watching the end of the Packers game. And it was very interesting because Matt LaFleur and Sean Payton had this embrace after the game, and they were talking to each other. And I was chuckling to myself thinking about
the handshake.
Was it a handshake? The kind of the run-by handshake. And I just was kind of chuckling, thinking about these are a couple of football coaches with mutual respect as opposed to what we saw in Lambeau Field not that long ago on Black Friday.
And it's setting up for a great rematch.
It's setting up for a hell of a rematch.
It's going to be one of the more highly anticipated regular season home games that you can remember for the Bears. And they're coming off a game against the Browns, which was just the perfect opponent. And I think, give Dustin credit. He predicted the Browns would not score a touchdown. And they did not score a touchdown.
He predicted they wouldn't score a point.
Yeah,
and I felt bad for him when they got the field goal because he missed it by that much. It was a very close prediction there, Dustino. And it was, I got to tell you, the way that game started, the Bears get a kickoff return, and then they go 3 and out. They punt the ball down to the goal line. And then, you're just sitting there watching this Cleveland team commit all these penalties and look like they got no business
being
cold.
On the
field.
They looked disinterested.
They looked awful.
They looked, why are we here? They had that sort of approach.
It was awful.
And the Bears did not start well in that first opening drive, so much for a fast start. And then they got it going, and they jumped out to a 14-0 lead, and Cleveland looked even more discombobulated.
Yeah, they did. There's no shadow of a doubt about that. But it was a great result for the Bears. They did exactly what you're supposed to do when you're facing a team like Cleveland that is cold and done. Let's be honest about it. They are they're on the slab. They're so cold, and the Bears took care of business, got it done, and they put themselves back in the lead in the division, with the Packers coming in here on Saturday night, an unusual Saturday night game. That should be a ton of fun. The crowd was so good yesterday, given all the problems with the cold, etc. I just
a lot of respect for the people that went out there and braved the elements, because it was brutal. It was 2 below wind chill at kickoff, and it seemed to get colder. I think really, like, there are 3 big things that happened yesterday. I think the Bears responded to coaching and Ben Johnson's challenge of treating it like an urgent moment, and more than it was. The other thing, they found DJ Moore. We talked all week about, where's DJ Moore? What's up with the number 1 wide receiver? He behaved like one. They found him. They made it intentional.
He was the guy available.
He was the guy available, but they took advantage of his availability. And then I think the takeaways keep piling up. And when the Bears take the football away, like the defense did yesterday, it's a different football team, and they're difficult to beat. So that, in a game against the Browns that could have been a trap game, one that they didn't want to fall into, they definitely did what they needed to do.
I thought it was cool that on the broadcast they showed the defensive backs room where they have the cage with all the balls in it from the interceptions, all autographed by the player who made the play. They had the whole wall with a picture of each of their picks on it. I just thought it was a little inside.
They're up to 30 takeaways.
Yeah,
they lead the league. It's a really remarkable season in that way, because the Bears came into this year, and I'm not sure, when you talk about surprising elements of this football team, the defense being a takeaway machine is probably near the top of the list.
Oh, no question.
Individuals may be more surprising, but collectively, that defense being able to create turnovers at the rate that they are, I didn't see that coming.
No, I think that there was a lot to like about the Bears' performance in that game. They did play with a sense of urgency. They did play to win. And if you just saw that game without knowing who was playing, you could almost predict what the records were, right? You knew one team had something they were going after, and the other team was just going through the motions. It was that, and oh my gosh, did you see when they had to go and change the play?
Was that wristband?
Was that last week's plays? That Olin said on the post game that he had done that once with his grammar school team, and that went through his head, that they probably had last week's game plans and plays, and they went out, they had to swap that thing out.
He was confused. Shedeur Sanders did not know what was going on, and that was a very embarrassing moment, one of many for the Browns yesterday. But if you did not know that Shedeur Sanders was the player that has gotten all this attention and was Deion's son and at the center of a lot of conversations at the draft, if you just saw him play, I don't think you saw much to convince you that he was a guy they're going to build around moving forward. Now, maybe that was just a bad game because he had been, previously 3 starts that were acceptable, but they made him look like a rookie. The Bears rattled him.
He got sacked 5 times. He threw 3 interceptions. David, the one thing that he did that I did not see coming, he had 2 carries for 24 yards. Now, that might not sound like much. I believe they ran for 50 yards for the whole game. Yeah, that's half the rushing
attack. Well, ridiculous. He caught the Bears in man coverage. They had their backs to him, and he scrambled, and that's what good quarterbacks will do under those situations. But he did not look.
He didn't look like.
He didn't look like he was a scrambler. No. I'm not sure if he.
I don't think he is.
His deep passes were rainbows. They had really. He threw the best pass he threw got intercepted. Jerry Jeudy in the end zone, and
was that
Jalen Johnson ripped it out of his hands and made a really nice defensive play.
Jerry Jeudy, I think he finished with 1 catch. Right, he didn't have a very good game. The thing that I found kind of amusing was Moose Johnson during the broadcast. They threw a pass to Fannin. They targeted him 17 times. Something insane like that. Maybe 14 times he caught
Harold Fannin?
Harold Fannin.
14 targets, 7 receptions, 48 yards.
That's their whole passing attack.
Yeah.
And he said something. He said something like, he's throwing him the ball too much. because somebody made an interception. Like, you know where the ball's going.
Well, you knew that.
And he's got one receiver.
Yeah. No doubt. And he had 14 targets. The next closest was 4, and that was Judkins, the check down running back.
And did you see Judkins' numbers?
Yeah.
I believe he had the DJ Moore 4 yards lost.
He had three receptions for 4 yards.
Minus
in the negative.
4 yards.
Minus 4.
Come on.
12 carries, 21 yards. Bears defense rose to the occasion. Meanwhile, I thought the Bears passing game really moved the ball around well, distributing to different receivers. I think Colston Loveland has emerged as one of their most dependable guys. DJ Moore, you don't want to take anything away from him. But boy, Colston Loveland had a terrific day making tough catches. And that helps Caleb Williams improve his accuracy. And on a day you would think the conditions would be challenging for the passing game, I thought Caleb Williams was as sharp as he's been.
I got to tell you, I was pleased with everything until the game started and they showed a picture of Rome Odunze. I had not gotten that missive that he became the second Bear in as many weeks to suffer a pre-game injury in the freezing cold. And now they ended up having to put Kyler Gordon on IR. He's lost for the rest of the regular season. Mm-hmm. What happens now with Rome Odunze?
Well, I think, again,
infuriated by that.
You hate to go back to what our conversations were last week, but we did talk about the dangers in bringing him back too soon from a stress fracture against an opponent where you didn't need him.
Oh, my God.
And it turns out now you don't know when you're going to have him. Now, he's not Christian Watson to the Bears offense, but he's a weapon that you don't have right now. And Luther Burden now went away with an ankle injury after having a very strong day.
Looked like a sprained ankle, didn't it?
It did, and he went into the locker room, and unknown how badly he's injured. But back to the Bears and the pregame routine, they need to readjust the pregame routine.
How about it?
Or their training staff has to have a different method of evaluating players to say that they're ready or not.
Listen,
2 weeks in a row is not
2
really
weeks in a row
a trend you want to get used to.
But how many Bears players, how many have we seen come back prematurely from an injury because they go right back out with the same injury?
I can think of 3, 4. So we have
that's off the top of your
Jalen
head.
Johnson, TJ Edwards, Kyler Gordon, and now Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 big ones. Who knows? We'd have to look into the weeds about others, but I don't know.
That's not good.
How normal that is. It's not.
I mean, it is abnormal. And I would say, David, the problem with it is this is your game day roster. So if you've got a guy up because he's going to play, now you got Devin Duvernay playing wide receiver because you ran out of wide receivers. Mm-hmm. You can't do that. You've got to respect your game day roster. You can't have somebody on it who's only going to not play, especially when you're going 2 weeks with a guy rubbed out before the game even began.
I'll say this. Yeah, you're right. The loss of Rome Odunze, and maybe it had a lot to do with the opponent, but they missed Kyler Gordon more under those circumstances than they missed Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
And I think they have more backup, more depth for Rome Odunze's loss than I think like a guy like Gordon.
Yeah, well, like I said, they threw the ball to TJ for a change, so that was nice. He was
well,
funny
I think out of necessity, and also that was by design.
Yeah.
That touchdown in the corner of the end zone, not the hero throw that they were talking about before the game or after the game, excuse me. The first touchdown in the corner was a deep crossing route, which they had practiced, and that's the kind of route you expect him to run.
Yes, it was a good route.
Midfield.
It was a good route,
and it was
a
right
good
where he needed to
touchdown.
do.
It was perfect. The second one, it made you wonder, like, okay, so what's been the best touchdown throw of the year? It's probably that one, but was it not a week ago that Olamide Zaccheaus caught like the most
the sidearm fastball?
Didn't you have the same reaction? Like, did he catch that?
He does
like,
that
was
once
that a pick?
every so often.
Holy cow.
Caleb Williams, he brings out the special on occasion. That was one of them.
Yeah.
And you think also, well, which was the best touchdown pass?
Yes.
The flea flicker with the the quick
true.
release and the loft and the 64-yarder.
Yes.
There are several to choose from.
I think it was that one. I think we just saw the best touchdown pass of the year.
Well, I think I love when he's rolling right and he throws across his body, and it's exactly where he envisioned it would go. Mm-hmm. And I love postgame when he was asked if this was an ill-advised pass. This is how he answered.
DJ, is that in any way an ill-advised throw from your point of view?
Nah, I can make any throw.
Yeah, that was the line of the post game.
That was great.
Oh, I mean, just
and he did not hesitate.
I
was sitting there like, this guy had a good day.
Any throw.
That's when you know Caleb Williams had a good day.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't any hesitation, and it wasn't really said with bravado. It was just a matter of fact. No, I can make any throw.
Oh, my God.
And you want your quarterback to exude that kind of confidence.
I agree with you. It was really confident. It was a great answer, and it was amusing that he went there as quickly as he did.
Ben Johnson not satisfied. He comes after
great too.
His good, better, best stuff, and they got their 10th victory of the season.
Yes.
He's a first-year head coach, and he just wants more and more and more. And I think his team so reflects his words, and that's the kind of thing you see. You mentioned Sean Payton. Evidence of coaching in teams of I think
question.
Broncos, the Patriots, they blew a lead yesterday, the Bears.
Yep.
That they're doing things the right way. They're responding to their coach in a way like the great teams or the playoff caliber teams do.
Don't forget the whole team saying happy birthday to the stud on his birthday. Did you see that? Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch got out there. The whole team saying happy birthday to him. I thought of Dustin. He must have been delighted.
That's funny.
He had that same birthday wish.
They're right behind the Packers on the schedule. They're right in the Bears' crosshairs.
Yes, that's right.
They are a team. How about this? The final 3 games of the season. This is how you know that relevant football has been rediscovered in Chicago. Primetime game Saturday night.
That's right.
Primetime game Sunday in San Francisco.
That's correct.
Possibly a primetime game to finish the season against the Lions.
The Lions' only hope is that they can win that game.
If that's a win or
now.
go home for the Lions,
that
could be a primetime matchup. That has not been determined yet, I believe.
No, but you're right. The Bears are ready for prime time.
They are proving it, and they are. And it's good for the league when the Bears are
It's good
relevant.
For the league. And it's good for the league when a Packers-Bears game on Saturday night will probably draw the same way the Black Friday game did when there was nothing else on.
Without question. With those two fan bases.
No question.
No doubt about it. It was a tough day for the league, frankly, because Micah Parsons goes down for season-ending injury, regardless of how you feel about the Packers. That's bad for the NFL.
Does that mean they're not a Super Bowl team?
I think it does.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
I don't
Patrick Mahomes goes down. That was hard to watch.
Listen, the problem with Patrick Mahomes going down with an ACL injury is that I believe, what are we at, the 15th of December, something like that? We're halfway through December. That's a full year injury. That's Patrick Mahomes. That damages the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Watching it again, hit by hand.
Watch as he goes to the ground. It looks like that. Oh, the left knee.
Yep, you saw it.
You saw it almost like it popped, it almost hyperextends, like it straightens out as it hits into the ground.
That's bad for football.
It
period.
is.
End of story.
Because it changes so much about the competitive balance. And I know nobody's going to feel sorry for the Chiefs, but I think Patrick Mahomes is as easy of a superstar as there is to like.
Oh, there's
in any
no
sport.
doubt about it. And
he's a Steph Curry of the NFL.
And I mean, when does he come back from that injury, right?
You're right. I mean, it's a year long. And now if they're out of playoff contention, which they're likely to be without him, who knows what the future means for Travis Kelce. I heard speculation about Andy Reid's future as a result of this injury. It does definitely impact everything. And it's sad because two of the greatest stars yesterday went down with season-ending injuries.
He'll be limping at Tay-Tay's wedding.
He won't be able to dance.
That's right.
He won't be able to dance at the wedding.
That's tough stuff for Brittany.
Well,
we know way too much about that team.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to bring it up, but it's just sad. I mean, because you're right. What happens with Andy Reid? What is Travis Kelce? He's not coming back. Right?
I have a hard time seeing them staying the same after this. They brought it back for one more run, and they just weren't a team that was complete enough to pull it off. Respect the fact that they tried. Have a ton of respect for Patrick Mahomes, but that was a tough thing to see.
But when you lose your talisman, Joe Tooney, there is no chance you can repeat.
How about Joe Tooney yesterday mixing it up with Myles Garrett a little bit after the play? Like to see him get a little feisty, and that was welcome. And they, Myles Garrett had a sack and a half, I believe. So
he did,
now
sack and a half. He's a sack and a half away from the NFL record. And he's got 3 games left.
He's something to watch.
He's amazing.
Where he lines up, up there in the press box, seeing the way that he just the 4-point stance. He's so far wide in that unique Jim Schwartz defense.
Right.
And they handled him pretty well for the most part.
They did.
It's terrible to say when they has a sack and a half that they handled him pretty well, but you didn't feel him as much as maybe you feared.
Oh, you should fear him. He's very good. I mean,
but the game was out of hand.
He is relentless. I know, but listen to this.
I got some for my Japanese fans. I kind of let them down last time, and they asked me what I had on my tape last week. So, Boku no hidari wa Gojira desu. Migi wa Kaiju o desu yo.
And that says?
On my left hand is Godzilla. On my right is King of the Monsters. That's what I think I am.
That's great.
I got to learn that saying. I'm going to Japan. Wouldn't it be funny if I walked into like a 7-Eleven, which are meant to be very good?
The King of the Monsters is here.
And I just said that sentence, if I could.
That would be great. You should learn that sentence.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone would just look at you. I had a friend who came in from Italy one time, and we went out. He had a buddy with him, and the only thing he could say in English was Magic Johnson coast to coast. And he said it about everything, and it was one of the funniest lines I've ever heard. Like he would, like someone would like, hey, who wants another drink? And he would hold up his glass.
Magic Johnson
coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
A pretty girl would walk by, and he would point at her and say, Magic Johnson coast to coast. I mean, he literally, the guy should have been a stand-up comic with Magic Johnson coast to coast.
You should learn that phrase.
I need to.
Myles
Clearly.
Garrett showing off the Japanese before the game. That was pretty cool.
I'd let everybody know. Godzilla, King of the Monsters.